Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our 25th of June 2024 council meeting. And before we move on with our agenda, could I invite Dale Marie to open us with a karakia on this auspicious day?
Tēnā koe te rangatira. Ai, tākiri mai te ata, ura te ata, kāke te ata, uru mai te ao. Uru mai te ao te tangata ki ana rerenga ki tōna kaua, tēnei te ao. Hea mārama, I runga whakairia, hui e, tai ki e. One to bring the sun. Kia ora.
Kia ora, thank you, Dale Marie. Moving on to my opening comments, look, two things I want to raise. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the recent passing of Philip's dad, John. I just want to extend our sympathies on behalf of the organisation and council to you, Phil. I know it's a challenging time for you and your family, but I know also that they're all around you, and you'll have a wonderful celebration of your dad's life, which is fabulous. So just like to acknowledge that. The second thing that I have to acknowledge is that this will be the last formal meeting for the Waipa District Council that will have Gary Diet seated in the CE seat, the hot seat. So Gary, look, I really don't know where to start, and I'm probably going to cry to thank you for everything that you've done for the district and our organisation.
Don't start.
Yeah. This is where I actually came prepared. I've got some in my pocket. This is the first of a number of lasts for you, but it's also the start of a whole new chapter for you and Donna and your family. And I guess words really can't describe the gratitude that I have towards you for your support and guidance and steady brain, personally for my first 18 months as mayor, and longitudinally for all the huge changes that you've made to our district and made Waipa the great place that it is to live. So thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Where you had the bling on.
Yeah, and that's why I've got the bling, right? It's a bit more formal. Okay, so look, with that said, let's move on to the more mundane parts of our agenda. I have apologies as the next item. I don't believe there are any. We're all here. Roger's online from the other side of the world. Good morning, good evening to you, Roger.
Yes, good evening. Yep. 10 past 10 at night here.
Oh, great. Very good. Very good. The next item then is disclosure of members' interests. I'm not sure that there are any. Lots of shaking heads. Fantastic. Late items. I'm not aware of there being any, so we shall skip past that one also. Confirmation of the order of our meeting. I don't believe there's any change to the order, so Andrew will move that. Bruce will second it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against?
Aye.
Carried. Love that delay. So confirmation of minutes of our meeting is our next item for our meeting held on the 28th of May. They've obviously been pre-circulated and they appear there in our agenda just for you to skip through. I'm comfortable that they are true and correct record. Claire will move that. Lou will second it. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Aye. Carried. Sorry, I just chuckle because your eye, Roger, comes in a little bit later than everybody. It's quite funny. Anyway, moving on to the next item, which is documents signed under council seal. Gary, this is one of yours.
Well, thanks, Worship. So our after hours contractor has employed some new staff. So these are just about regularising the warrants, particularly for things like noise control and animal control after hours.
Okay. Pretty straightforward.
Susan.
Yeah, Liz. Yeah, no, I was happy to move. Very straightforward item, so happy to move the recommendation.
Dale Marie will second that. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Fantastic. Oops. There's a thumping noise again. Moving on to our first substantial item, the adoption of our enhanced annual plan and development contributions policy and setting of the rates. Melissa, this is your report. Nice to see you this morning. Take the hot seat. Good morning, everybody. So thank you, and through the chair. So the purpose of this report is to seek adoption of the enhanced annual plan for 24-25 obviously adoption of the development contributions, and obviously at this time as well, be looking to set the rates for the coming financial year. So just to cover off some key points as a result, or I guess the enhanced annual plan side of things. So the consultation took place between the 5th and the 26th of April. During that time, 292 submissions were received, and 31 people presented at the hearing. As a result of submissions received, there were a number of changes to the proposed enhanced annual plan. So I guess just to recap, the two substantive consultation topics were around the first one being a sort of a general financial question, seeking feedback on whether or not council has got the balance right. And the second being around the Cambridge Water Tower and whether or not we proceed to demolish or retain that facility. So the changes as a result of submissions received were that council did make the decision to proceed with the demolition of the Cambridge Water Tower, however, with a view to retain an open mind up until the point where resource consent is retained for that. The second one being to increase the funding to the Cambridge Town Hall Trust from 400,000 to 502,000 for the coming financial year, and also to fund Destination Cambridge and Destination Te Awamutu to the value of $30,000 each to operate the eyesights in those respective towns for the coming year. I'd also just like to point out that staff have received an email from Councillor St Pierre earlier this morning requesting a number of amendments. These were largely minor in nature. However, we have made or we are suggesting an amendment to the resolution or the recommendation as a result of those, just so staff can incorporate that feedback. With respect to the development contributions, we didn't formally consult on this as no significant amendments were proposed for that, and the rates was proposed at 14.8%, and that is still being retained through this report as well. And that's all from me.
Thank you, Melissa. I will open the floor for questions and comments. And in the meantime, could I ask that the amended resolution be displayed for our consideration relating to paragraph D and the delegation there? Comfortable with that? Marcus? Oh, you're happy to move it. Monty, did you have a
Look, I
question?
just wanted to check these amendments, they're all just typos, are they? Or is there anything substantive in there?
No, there's nothing substantive. I guess the biggest issue was that with the changes that were agreed, to the budgets, the increase to the Cambridge Town Hall was expressed as the overall increase, which was $500,000, whereas all the others were the incremental increases. Yeah, so, like $100,000. Yeah, so there was that one. I'm sorry about this, that I don't circulate it to everyone else because, one, I had to send the entire document through. So there are comments that I've made on other items in the agenda as well. And you guys might not be interested in those either. And when I send it through, I had to individually select the people that it gets sent to. And if I've got to try and remember at 6 o'clock in the morning, all the councillors' names, I'm bound to forget someone. Yeah, so it's very difficult to just send specific feedback through. Yeah, but this one is, yeah.
So in terms of those amendments, we're coming, Marcus has moved. Are we comfortable as a general council to
that reflects appropriately the changes that will incorporate some of the minor issues raised by Claire.
Yeah, I'm happy with.
You happy with that,
Could
Liz?
I make it?
Okay, Roger,
Could I
Liz said
come in?
she's happy with it, but Roger, yes?
Yeah, no, I think I've got a slight challenge with that. And I just think if there are any minor amendments to the enhanced annual plan, that perhaps governance in making the changes could send out a track changes copy or something like that. I just feel a bit uncomfortable with changes being considered that we aren't aware of their detail. That's my challenge there.
We can go through them one at a time, if you like.
Yeah, I think we can. Kirsty and Melissa can speak to that. You're comfortable
Yeah,
with doing that, Melissa?
We can do that, yeah. Did you have something to add? Yeah, we can do that now.
You're comfortable with that?
Yes.
Excellent. Great. That being the case, I have a mover in Marcus. Is somebody happy to second? Philip will second that. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. Fantastic. Great work. And thank you, Strat team, and thank you for all your hard work. And also thank you to the elected members who committed to all of the engagement occasions that took place in terms of the collation of feedback from the community. It's much appreciated. Interesting times. So moving on then to our next substantive item, which is the Anchor Institution Work Programme. This is Kirsty's. Good morning, Kirsty. Nice to see you.
Morena Koto, actually, Gary and I are co-presenting this report, although he's set up at the front table. So, Gary, would you like to kick us off, or would you like?
Yeah, so this piece of work goes hand in glove with Ahuaki, and it really is about Waipa District and improving the life of folks who live here. And as we look across the spectrum of expenditure that we have, so much of the money that we spend goes outside of the district. So a large part of this is about the economy and spending money locally. It's about the way in which we deliver services via the Section 17(8) principles that we previously talked about. But it's also about things like participatory democracy, and we've talked about that. And recently you've started a representation review, and I anticipate that over the next 3 years, we'll talk a lot more about participatory democracy and how we can link better with the communities. And then that leads on to things like participatory budgeting. So instead of having lots of discretionary grants, you actually work with the community to implement Ahuaki through those sorts of discretionary funds. So there's also work that Kirsty picked up when she went to the ICMA conference this year and saw what was happening in places like Antrim Newton Abbey. It's a very useful way in which people use our facilities. So all of that's gathered together in this paper. And critically, it's about small steps and taking the community with us. It's not a quantum leap into the future. So I guess that's a bit of context. I really need to thank Joy Mickelson, who's been a huge amount of weight behind the economic side of this report. But over to you. Thanks, Kirsty.
Thank you, Gary, and through you, Madam Chair. So just by way of recap and building on what Gary's mentioned, through the work of the Future for Local Government Review, Gary and what he's championed at a local, regional and national level in respect of anchor institutions and the role they play in our local communities. And the work of Ahuaki, we presented to you back in April an anchor institution framework for consideration, and that was approved. So work has been undertaken to now develop a draft work program. You provided very clear guidance to us that this wasn't something that we would be coming to you seeking additional funds, that we were to manage this within existing budgets and build on the great work that's already been done across our organisation. So this draft work program has been developed in collaboration with subject matter experts and activity managers across the organisation. You'll see that there are work streams that are already well advanced, some that are in the very early stages to be progressed, and others that are planned. And you'll see that they relate to the different component parts of the framework that was approved back in April. This morning we received some feedback from Councillor Clare with some suggested changes relating to performance measures. There are two of those suggested. One relates to, just in terms of full transparency, apologies, I'm just trying to find it in my notes. One relates to the section around procurement and a performance measure that by providing training to local suppliers with tendering, we can expect to see more applications from smaller, new and local businesses who've gone through that training. The second suggested measure relates to how the Anchor Institution approach is benefiting the district and referencing possible media articles showcasing this approach. So I'm suggesting we probably need to have some time to look at the specific wording, and on that basis we are suggesting a new recommendation to be approved by you today, providing a delegated authority to myself to make minor changes to the work program to incorporate that feedback. I'm happy to respond to any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Kirsty. Claire.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kirsty. I'm pleased that you were considering those. I just want to say that we're also getting the feedback, from the representation review that we've been doing that pre-engagement on. And there's some really interesting comments in there about that desire for, I suppose, people, at a community level or, just ordinary people having the chance to input into council decision-making or discussions and things. Yeah, so I sort of felt it was sort of a big tick that we're choosing, this approach. Yes, I'm pretty optimistic that, yeah, it's going to be a good thing for Waipā. Thanks.
Through you, Madam Chair. So absolutely, as you've seen through the framework, that the exploration and enhancement of those community participatory approaches will be provided for as we give effect to the framework. A further point I should have made, and my apologies for that, is that this will be a live document. We will be ensuring that we keep it current. So there is no review period specified, because the intention is that we will be updating it and sharing that with you through our reporting. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Any other questions in respect to this matter? Liz?
Yeah, Kirsty, I've been a huge supporter of this for many, many years, actually. When I see, obviously, a lot of, opportunities missed by local contractors. I just wonder with the local procurement, if there's an opportunity in the future to look at weighting local businesses, in the procurement process. I know that might appear a little unusual, but I just think that, in some ways it just provides even better opportunities for smaller, or encouragement that there just might be a choice, or there might be, be really honest, this is favouritism in some ways, supporting local. But I don't know how we would do that and how fair that is, but I just wanted to sort of put it out there on the table.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's something that we'll take back to our procurement specialist and team to look at how that could or couldn't be incorporated. Look at that further. Thank you.
Gary?
So within the Anchor Institution framework, if you engage a local contractor, you also look to engage them in the outcomes that you've outlined within Ahuaki. So how can you help us deliver that? And so as we cast our eye around the community, we can see where there are certain jobs that need to have people trained for. And so those are the sort of outcomes you look to work with suppliers on, so that they're delivering the outcomes that you want for the community. So you can absolutely make that trade-off, and that's something we're working with Ardell.
Any other comments? Andrew?
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chair, or your worship. This is great progress on a really important work stream, and I'm very happy with it. So, yeah, well done, and I'm happy to move the recommendation.
Thank you, Andrew. And I'll second that from the chair. Assuming there's no further conversation or discussion on this, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say.
I've got my.
Oh,
I've
you got
my
your hand up. Sorry, Roger. Way you go.
Sorry, just as with the last item, may we please have a copy of the track changes on the document with the changes suggested?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, we can share that with all councillors. Councillor Gordon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Roger. I will then put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Carried. Thanks, Kirsty and Gary, for all your work in that space. It's obviously, it's definitely your baby, right? Thank you. The next item at hearing at tab 10, at page number 229 of our agendas, is the Audit and Risk Committee meeting report. We have Jenny and George. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
I'll take the report as read and will highlight the following points. The annual Risk Refresh workshop was held on the 11th of June and is considered one of the foundational workshops in the development of the 2534 LTP. The top risks and risk appetite statement documents are being updated and will be presented to the next ARC meeting, then Council. Overall, the improvement programs to implement the recommendations from our strategic internal audits are not proceeding as previously planned due to resource constraints. Although recruitment has addressed some of these, priority has also been given to the enhanced annual plan and the 2534 LTP, which will continue to impact key resources. We're looking to replan the off-track programs over the coming quarter to include the ongoing resource constraints. Staff believe the legislative compliance management follow-up audit to be a fair and balanced audit and are pleased to see the improvement in the rating to systematic. This is reflective of some considerable effort by staff since the last audit. We also acknowledge that there's further work required to get to the desired maturity rating of comprehensive and will be implementing the recommendations in the audit. 3 key policies and guidance were endorsed for management approval. These are the sensitive expenditure, using the corporate credit card and protecting against fraud and corruption. The policies have been shared with Audit New Zealand, our external auditors, who advise general support. And finally, due diligence of the preferred candidate for the independent member of ARC to take over as chair next triennium is largely completed and a mayoral appointment will be made shortly. Happy to take questions.
Thanks, Jenny. Any questions for Jenny or George in respect of the ARC meeting to which this item relates and the matters raised therein? Dale Marie is keen to move, but Roger, fire away.
Yes, I'm just going to say that it was a very good and interesting meeting, and I was willing to move it, but seeing as Dale Marie's done that, I'll second it. Thank you.
Fantastic. So there being no further conversation, I will put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Against? Aye. Carried. Thanks very much, ladies. Great report. Next item is one of Diana's. It's an update on council delegations. Morning, Diana. Nice to see you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. Tēnā koutou. So the purpose of my report is to seek council authority to approve additional delegations to staff. I'll take the report as read, but I'll just highlight the key delegation requests. First of all is just to clarify that there are delegations to the Chief Executive in consultation with the Mayor or Deputy Mayor to make submissions on government or other public agency proposals. That's particularly to account for those times where the submission period is very short, so we don't have an opportunity to take a proposed submission to a council committee. The second is to seek delegations to certain senior staff to make submissions on fast track consenting applications, and that again is to account for those situations where there's not enough time to seek any approval to take those submissions. And just to note, that's under the existing provisions that are still in force under the Natural and Built Environments Act, not the fast track applications currently before Parliament. And finally, there was just a minor update to council delegations to account for changes in legislation. I'm very happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Diana. Great summary. Anybody have any questions they wish to extract from answers from Diana? No? Okay, Claire, are you happy to move that? Fantastic. I will second that from the chair, and I will put the motion. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Excellent. Great stuff, team. Thank you very much, Dana. Moving on then to tab 12 of our agenda, which is a resolution to exclude the public. Obviously, there are a number of rational reasons set out on pages 282, 200 and 283, underpinning that, that public exclusion status. I'm comfortable with that, so I will move that from the chair.
Sorry,
Marcus?
I just forgot, I've got a conflict of interest on item 16 and I forgot to note that this morning.
That's one in the PX.
Yeah, public
Okay,
excluded thing.
we'll talk about that once we go into PX.
Yes, well, I'll move.
Okay, we can note that. Yeah. Okay, so public excluded, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say